Hello and welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to be discussing the need for optimism in science fiction media. Initially I was going to do a talk about post-scarcity and purpose, a topic Isaac Arthur covered not too long ago, but I just can't quite seem to find the right words for that one. In any case, do you know what my favorite episode of Star Trek is? It's one of the Next Generation episodes called The Neutral Zone. It's about these three people from the 20th century who were cryogenically frozen and woken up on the Enterprise. And they have to come to grips with the strange ways that things are done in the future. Oh, and there was some stuff about Romulans, but who fucking cares? I think my favorite movies are The Voyage Home and First Contact. Now, for any Star Trek aficionados out there, you can probably see the pattern that has emerged with these choices. They all involve a direct comparison between life in the 24th century and life in the 20th century. And the reason I love these so much is because they give these direct comparisons. And I'm aware that it's a tool in Star Trek that they would examine a shortcoming of humanity, but it's in an alien species instead. Some warlording group of aliens, or theocratic ones, or just really racist ones, or ones with strange takes on morality, whatever. But the reason I like it when it's directly comparing it with human beings is because, well, it's a world I live on, and it's a problem that I and many people likely face. And so to see a world where those problems have been solved, we no longer have to suffer the inadequacies of the 20th century. Science and technology and general morality has improved, is just something that gives me hope, I suppose. Seeing Bones McCoy aghast at the nature of 20th century medicine. Well, what would medicine in the future be like? That he could compare 20th century medicine to what we would scoff at when it comes to, say, medieval medicine. I can't wait to see that. I hope that comes into fruition one day. Or seeing Picard talk about how money is no longer a factor in the future, that we no longer have poverty or starvation. That sounds fantastic. I would love to live in a world like that. And so would many other people, because Star Trek was a major inspiration for multitudes of scientists and engineers, probably some diplomats and politicians, other science fiction artists and authors. People were inspired by a better world, and I think that's one of the big reasons why newer Star Trek stuff, such as Discovery, or the Picard spin-off, or Lower Decks, is viewed so unfavorably, because rather than an optimistic future where mankind has largely gotten its shit together, where we've managed to do away with a lot of the shortcomings our species faces today, whether because of our own psychologies, or the limitations of our technologies, or the issues with our own societies, we no longer face these sorts of challenges and are able to try to achieve greater things. That's missing. Like in Picard, you have this one woman, this one alien lady, talking about how, oh, you know, you have such a fancy vineyard here, and I just live in a hovel. And while technically that is an element of scarcity in Star Trek, not everyone can have Picard's vineyard specifically. One could argue there's enough habitable planets out there, and the existence of replicators means it should not be too difficult to make your own fancy vineyard. It seems like a weird complaint to make in such a universe. Now, the reason why shows like Picard exist, there's, I think, two major reasons. The first is, well, Altered Carbon and Black Mirror and The Expanse are so popular, and those take place in shitty dystopian universes. So we want our own shitty dystopian universe IP to milk, and we already have Star Trek, so why not use that? That's future. That's science fiction. So laziness, basically. But I think the other reason is simply because people feel the need to look at the world and all the problems that exist on it now. Wow, you really ignored the health. Yeah, stand right on, dude, that's brilliant. All the problems it has now, which there's a myriad of them. We've got problems galore, even if we've solved a multitude from previous generations. And problems are always going to exist. And they feel that the best way to make social commentary on them is to show those problems in action in a science fiction setting, rather than, as Roddenberry did with Star Trek, show them through the solutions we've come up with. In the 60s and 70s, that was when the civil rights movement was at its height. Society had major problems about racism, and while Star Trek did address racism in the form of weird, wacky aliens, the way it addressed it for human beings was, we got over being racist. We no longer restrict people from positions based on their skin color. It's why you have Asians and black ladies working on the USS Enterprise amongst white men and Vulcans. The Cold War was at its height. The Cuban Missile Crisis, a possibility that there will not be a tomorrow because somebody might press the button. And looking back with history at our disposal, we now know that the difference between tomorrow and atomic annihilation has come down to the decision of a single Russian guy multiple times. Different Russian guys, but still one dude saying, no, let's not fire the missiles, this might be a false positive, has saved our bacon multiple times. One could only imagine the abject fear that many people must have felt in that era, and yet, Gene Roddenberry said, well, that sucks, but in the future, there might not be conflict between nations. There might not even be individual nations as we conceive them. And as far as this whole USA versus Russia business that we face today, well, I'm gonna have an American captain and a Russian crewmate working together on this cool spaceship, and it's going to be a fantastic future. I think we need more of this. Less cynicism, more optimism. And I don't mean optimism as in we ignore the problems we face today. We ignore things like climate change. We ignore things like increased wealth disparity and capitalism's inability to properly match the rise in technology and ensure everyone is able to live comfortably, but instead to design futures where those things have been addressed. Hey, it really sucked that at some point the overall temperature of the planet was rising, and that was causing storms that would be severe to be way more severe. That was causing different areas of the world to drastically drop in temperature. That was causing mass extinction and fucking over the ecosystem. But we managed to develop sufficient technologies to be, neutral in terms of our carbon emissions and reverse a lot of the damage. I think that's a spy. He's sus. I got double teamed. And now our planet is okay. We did it. We solved the problem. We fixed the fuck up. And now we're going to explore the galaxy. And maybe there's a planet out there filled with alien life that haven't quite gotten the memo. And they're kind of like what we were in the past. Just rapid pollution, no regard for the environment because it might affect the bottom line. But we can perhaps share the technologies and ideas we've gotten over the years with them so they don't kill themselves in such a way. And I do mean share the technology because the Prime Directive is bullshit. Or alternatively, maybe some fucker from Alcor is unthawed and he's wondering, hey, why is the air so clean? Maybe he's from China. He's wondering, hey, why is the air so clean? Why is the water so clean? And they can be explained, oh, we got our shit together. And if it's good, if whatever this hypothetical show is of actual quality and it gets a lot of attention and people really like it, it could inspire people to work on making some of that technology real. Take the wild, wacky ideas that could only be formed in the minds of science fiction authors and say, hey, is this even possible? What would it take to make this a reality? I mean, that is, after all, how it's gone down in real life before. The modern-day smartphone was inspired by the technology of Star Trek. Spaceship designs, people who designed them were inspired by Star Trek, even if they didn't emulate the specific designs from the show. Faster than light travel, big reason people want it to be a reality and are trying to figure out, is there any way the laws of physics would allow us to technically do this? Is because they saw people on Star Trek exploring the vastness of the universe, unburdened by distance. There was no way I would survive that. But unfortunately, optimism is difficult to come by, and I get it. I understand why a universe or a world where people are struggling would be more enticing from a storytelling perspective than one where we got our shit together, because struggle is necessary for a good story. Who wants, if Mary Sue's are frowned upon, could you imagine an entire society of them? But we've seen with Star Trek that doesn't have to be the case. There could still be certain personal failings. There could still be even seemingly arbitrary limitations in resources. Warp drive fucked up Now we're stuck near this primitive planet of savages, and we gotta survive because we don't have enough power for our replicators. And of course, you know, there's always the possibility of an external threat, one that's far more advanced, far more deadly than what we are, that would require cunning and ingenuity to overcome. So while it is a lot easier to make the cyberpunk setting than the solarpunk one, and have it be interesting and engaging from a storytelling point of view, it's not mandatory. And I would like for more authors or filmmakers or TV show directors or whatever to at least try to present a future worth working towards. Because if all we have is, hey, tomorrow's gonna be shitty, you know, like, the new technology that comes out is just gonna make life worse, then the only appropriate response is to abhor any new technology, even if it could potentially make life a lot better. But if there is a balance where technology can actually make things better for people, can actually solve some of the problems we face, then that'll be something people are able to look to and work towards, and hopefully wrangle the powers that be in a way that they work towards that as well. Now, it's no secret that new technologies are going to cause new problems. That's inevitable with any change. Problems are always going to happen, but problems almost always can be solved. And a lot of the times, the problems with technology isn't even the technology itself, but the fact we live in a shitty, outdated, capitalist society that values profit over well-being. Ah, damn it, I was almost. Probably see what I was going for there. You want to get that Uber saw hit, build up a full Uber, switch, use it, and live. Let's see. And plus, you know, just a variety in general would be nice. I mean, it seems like so much of the same shit plagues the entertainment industry to begin with. How many goddamn superhero things do we need? It's gone to the point where, hey, what if superhero, but bad, is it has overstayed its welcome? Or, hey, we're gonna deconstruct what it means to be a superhero and show it's not all it's cracked up to be or something, has also overstayed its welcome. I mean, seriously, it's the new Penguins. That's what I like to say, referencing that time March of the Penguins came out, and then there was all of these that's nice. All these Penguin movies were released as a result because they were chasing trends. Yet Marvel makes $1 billion every single fucking movie, but come on. They're not making any of my money, partially because Disney is a terrible fucking company that literally supports concentration camps. I saw the Milan credits, you sacks of shit. Wow, that was good. Ah, damn it. If I killed him, you know, my team would have been able to handle that sentry for sure. You're trying your best, Spy. Watch out, black man chasing you. he has a ham, dude, run! I guess the same issues are levied at Star Wars as well, though more with individual characters like Luke Skywalker or Han Solo than from a thematic or world-building perspective. I don't know, it seems like everyone's way too cynical, and it's one thing to complain, but here's a solution, here's an idea as to what it could be, rather than this total shittiness. But it's another thing if it's just complaining and complaining and downtrodden and downtrodden over and over and over again. Is this guy even doing anything? Yeah, he's second place. I don't know, maybe he's taking a shit. Keep this guy alive. I've been working on my own novel that takes place in a sort of utopian setting. So I am, putting my money where my mouth is, so to say. I'm not being a hypocrite where it's like, oh, you're complaining about all these other people, making shitty futures, but you're not, making your own non-shitty future. No, I'm trying. It's on hiatus because I'm working on a different book, neither which will be read by a wider audience because I don't have that kind of money and connections, but I am trying. And when it comes to wasting my time working on these writings, that's something I'll probably be covering when I discuss post-scarcity and meaning. Let me put it this way. I enjoy shitty sci-fi settings. I like Blade Runner. I like Alien. Blade Runner 2049 and the first Alien are two of some of my favorite movies of all time. But I also like a bit of optimism for a change. And you have people like Isaac Arthur, every week or twice a week making a new video about all this amazing technology and potential mankind has. And it seems like a wonderful world. Maybe someone ought to try to cash in on it and actually make it into a story. Who knows, maybe you'll be the next Star Trek, because Star Trek certainly doesn't seem like it's trying to be. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this video, that I gave you something to think about and otherwise entertained you.